Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Financial Analysis Twist by Niraj Shah. This is Niraj here from Moscow, and I wanted to talk about not about that particular stocks or the markets because times are so uncertain and so bad that it is stupidity to even talk about that invest in these stocks or those stocks, because nobody knows when actually when people will get the time from that daily uh, lockdown and trying to survive each day uh, in that to talk about investment and get into the market is not proper. So but as you know that life continues, and we are sure that after that lockdown is and quarantine is over, uh, we will all come back limping back normalcy and to normal life. So keeping that in mind, in the future, as and when things start taking place, businesses start taking place, I believe that the things will not be the same. I mean, I'm sure everybody must be believing because of this kind of unimaginable things have happened in the world because of this pandemic. So I just wanted to come out in this video about my themes, about what I think, believing that in future which businesses will be on the decline and which will be the future businesses, which is the future business theme, and where one can look into this, what would be the trend going forward. So as you've seen, that world has seen the total change in the way people live and functions in times of pandemic coronavirus. Unimaginable things are happening. Everyone sitting at home, and businesses and economic activities stopped suddenly in the simultaneously in the world. This has forced people to start living differently, as well as the businesses also to think radically different ways to continue working in such stressful times. So, regarding the future business post coronavirus, as you know, some reports have come out by this global financial, global consulting firms and experts, and most of these reports are generic in nature and not, very specific about which particular sector or which particular companies will have a bad or good impact. So in this video, what I'm trying to give my insight into the economic and business scenario in the post-coronavirus world. Which businesses will thrive, or which business will evolve, and which business will be in the declining phase. This will help you in identify the future business trends and invest accordingly, as investment business will continue, but that too in a radically different way. Valuations will not be the sole criteria, as during such times everything becomes cheap. But most important will be the future survivability of that business. So whether a company or a sector will survive or and grow, or it will be on the gradual declining path. So the first point is that as people start living and working quarantined at home, businesses have started adopting technology for conducting business. People are going to be working from home for a long time, ranging from 2 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on the intensity of the coronavirus infections in that particular country and the country's preparedness regarding facing this challenge. So once the threat of coronavirus start declining and business will start limp back to normalcy, we will see demand for commercial real estate space coming down drastically, as people will start understanding the cost benefits and improved efficiency and productivity of working from home. And in such in such atmosphere, the requirement of office will become redundant or minimal. So people will get understanding that only few people are required to be in the office at the same time, and there is no need to keep a big office space. This will lead to decline in demand, and as such commercial office rents will come down. This will lead to the decline in demand, and builders which are into the commercial real estate space will have a tough time selling the office space. So I believe real estate companies, banks and financial institutions lending to this space will be in the big problem because of the decline in demand and decline in rental space. NPAs will increase. Non-performing assets on their balance sheets will increase. As the world becomes more and more reliant on technology, artificial intelligence, and such solution provider companies will grow. The third is, due to the increasing world and country specific uncertainties, businesses have to become more flexible in order to respond fast to the changing environment. So conventional way of hiring and giving lifetime jobs will become redundant. More and more businesses will shift to contract jobs or depend on consultant and freelancers for specific jobs. This will reduce the job and employment opportunities from the organized sector by 30 to 40%. So less and less formal jobs from the organized sector will be available. So we have to be prepared for such a scenario also. Fourth, due to radical changes in the life and business because of the coronavirus pandemic, technology adoption and hiring of freelance. Fourth point, due to the radical changes in the life and business because of coronavirus pandemic, technology adoption and hiring of freelance consultants for specific jobs, working from home, etc., and requirement for traveling, both daily commute as well as the long distance traveling, business travel will reduce. As such, demand for oil and gas will continue to decline, keeping the prices of energy low. Fifth, since oil and gas will be declining industry and prices will continue to remain for a low for a long time, world and India will also become a low cost economy. So India and world will remain in low moderate growth phase for a long time, which will lower the average remuneration packages across the industries. I mean to say average salary packages will reduce significantly in the coming future. Sixth, people becoming more and more conscious and aware about the environmental and conservation of nature and life in general. There will be more adoption of technology in alternative fuels and energy and transportation sector, which will continue to keep the demand for oil and gas on the downhill. So all related industries like oil and gas, service providers, drillers, pipelines, refineries also will be on the downward phase. Seventh, coronavirus has disrupted the world and life like never before and made people sit and think about health and well-being of mind and body. I am not talking about the disease but about the general holistic health view. Also, such viruses from time to time remind us of the limitations of the modern medicine and pharma industry. Pharma industry is the largest industry in the world and is based on human fear rather than the cure. I believe people will start going back to nature and Ayurveda or alternative medicine, just like people will search for the alternative energy, alternative fuel space, as happened in oil and gas sector also, as they become aware of leading a healthy lifestyle. So companies baking alternative healthcare will be on the upswing and big traditional pharma industry will be on the decline. 8. Food and water are the basics for life. No living organism can be without food and water. So for food and agriculture based industry like retail stores who are selling the food and processing food industry, etc., will be continuing to be in demand. And because of the social distancing and more people working from home, e-commerce as well as home delivery will gain more and more traction. So logistics and delivery companies will continue to be on the upswing. This will gain more traction and grow in the post-coronavirus world. Ninth, as government and doctors advising to take precautions against coronavirus by saying that currency notes also can be the source of virus. And with the current wild fluctuations in almost all the national currencies, the value of almost all the currencies have gone down by 15 to 20% against the dollar. The fears have also started appearing in the minds of the general public about the reliability of their own currency. I believe going forward, bitcoins or digital currencies will gain traction and more and more acceptance going forward, despite resistance by the different governments. 10th, coronavirus has disrupted life and brought it to a standstill and also made people realize that it's better to be in home rather than traveling to other countries, as all countries suddenly cancelled flights, visas and sealed borders as happened in last 1 month. This resulted in millions of people who traveled to foreign countries for work, pleasure, leisure, etc., getting trapped in the other countries and suffering without food, shelter, and an uncertain future, not knowing when they will be able to return home. This is making people fearful of traveling outside own country. So I believe, and I think it is will be the trend going forward, that when things settle down long after the virus is gone and life is coming back to the normalcy, they will start traveling inside their own country for tourism and vacation. As such, domestic travel will boost and international travel will see decline. This will also add to the declining oil and gas demand and in overall generally bad for the international airlines companies of Middle East, Europe, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore and Malaysia, as they are the small countries dependent mainly on foreign tourists because of their small size in area as well as the small local population. 11. Coronavirus has made people and country and everything in general to look inward. So globalization will suffer as countries turn inward and protect its own space. So domestic consumption demand will be the future theme. Also, because of this virus coming from China and originating, and everybody is becoming angry, and all industries are talking about shifting away from China to other countries like India. So there is a talk that India will stand to gain a lot in this scenario. But I believe India can benefit up to a certain extent, not fully, because of the lack of infrastructure, lack of clear-cut policies, and relatively high tax regimes. My advice and suggestion to the government of India is to sincerely look into tax policies, as there is a great scope for tax reduction. Because India has multiple tax regime, despite is trying to simplifying tax, but if you look and compare it to some of the other countries, overall, if one adds taxes at every stage, the total tax exceeds 60% plus in a person's life, in an overall year, apart from income tax, GST, then that inside that excise, even though now the GST includes all the other taxes, but then there is a in some of the cases the VAT is there, and that escalation of the taxes, multiple taxes, it exceeds more than 50% in India's case. So my suggestion is that we can India can have a far more simple tax system, as we have a very complex tax system and high compliance cost over and above. So many compliance and so many regimes India has to follow. That is making investors coming to India very about business and setting up industry in India. Having said that, there are also numerous industries like content providers and broadcasting, but these are not the broader theme as such, not the main industries. That's why I just wanted to talk about the future theme, how the business and which businesses will look the futuristic post coronavirus world. Thank you, and once again we will thank you for watching this video, and if you like, you please press the like button and subscribe and share it. And also I welcome because I am not, this is an interactive kind of video. I would like to all your suggestions also, which you think would be the industry and how the things will pan out in the future going forward. So all views are welcome. Thank you once again. This is Neeraj from Moscow. Bye.